That's my prayer for you guys this morning, is that you would stand in awe of God. And so this morning, we're gonna pray to Him. We're gonna honor Him in our service this morning. So if you'd bow your heads and pray with me real quick. Dear Father, thank you so much for this day. And just thank you for being so awesome. You truly are, and you've given us so much. You've blessed us here at Maysville. And I pray that we would not squander it, we would not take it for granted, that we would truly be in awe of you, Father. Every day and in every situation, when life's easy, when life's amazing, when life's hard, when life's difficult, that we would trust you, we would truly rely on you in spiritually dry seasons and spiritually amazing seasons, God. I pray that you'd work in a mighty way in our congregation here, that we would honor you, we would not disrespect you, we would be filled with discipline, you'd fill us with passion, you'd have us love you in a way that is honoring towards you, God. I pray for me today as you just use me as your mouthpiece, Father. In Jesus' name, amen. Well, good morning. Thank you for being here. I know I'm not the usual guy preaching, but we're going to dive into Scripture, and hopefully we'll pull some awesome truths today. We're in the book of 1 Samuel chapter 2 this morning. We're going to be kind of diving into a kind of a scandalous story a little bit, but it's going to be fun to dive into it. But as we transition into today's sermon, I want you to think back and contemplate a time in your life that felt like a spiritually dry season, a time when you just felt maybe bored, felt bored a little bit maybe. And maybe even you spoke these words in your mind, or to your spouse, or to your friend, or to somebody. You just said, man, church just doesn't excite me anymore. Or the Bible, I'm just not, I can't read, this is so boring, I can't read it. Maybe you felt that in your mind. Maybe if you were honest, you felt that way at some point in your life, right? Maybe you felt like the Bible just doesn't stimulate my faith. My ministry feels lazy. I even feel maybe lacking in my fulfillment. Or maybe you feel so surrounded by the things of God that they don't invoke a sense of awe and wonder anymore. And maybe hopefully not to the extreme. To the extreme would be a very dangerous place to be, right? Of not even regarding the things of God as holy, disrespecting those things, so to speak, right? Maybe you feel a lack of discipline when reading Scripture, or a lack of passion when it comes to sharing the gospel, these things that should be part of our walk with Christ, and maybe we're struggling in those departments. And I pray you don't feel the extreme way of disliking the things of God. That would be a scary place to be, disliking and not honoring God whatsoever. And what do I do? And what a dangerous and sad place to be. If you feel that way today, I do want to pray for you. Perhaps early in your faith, the close-up examination of every element of faith got you so excited. You thirsted for more. When you were a baby Christian, maybe you're just so excited for the things of God. You were just like, man, I want to read this Bible front to cover. I want to share the gospel with random people. I want to build relationships. I want to disciple people. And you thirsted for more, but slowly, this might have happened. There comes a moment when possibly the glory of God doesn't seem all that glorious anymore. Hopefully you're not there. And perhaps living in a theological community, or we live in a Christian bubble in Virginia for sure, right? It begins to dull my excitement, maybe even numb my amazement. Perhaps the Bible gets reduced to little more than a theological manual, something I can study, it can be dissected, I can respond to it. Maybe we've even reduced God to nothing more than just a being that can be observed, something that we can talk about, a conversation piece. Maybe you feel like you're in church all the time, and maybe it's a drag to come, and I pray you're not in that situation. But I do have a quote here from B.B. Warfield. He is a Princeton professor. He wrote this to his students. He wrote this legit to his students. He said, "We are frequently told, indeed, that the great danger of the theological student lies precisely in his constant contact with divine things. They come to seem common to him because they are customary." Then we're going to skip a little bit in his quote down to this main point. "It is your great danger, but it is your great danger only because it is your great privilege. Think of what your privilege is when your greatest danger is that the great things of religion may come common to you. Other men oppressed by the hard conditions of life, sunk in the daily struggle of bread perhaps, distracted at any rate by the dreadful drag of the world upon them and the awful rush of the world's work, find it hard to get time and opportunity as much to pause and consider whether there are such things as God, religion, and salvation from the sin that compasses them about and holds them captive. The very atmosphere of your life is in these things. You breathe them in at every pore. They surround you, encompass you, press in upon you, and from every side, it is all in danger of becoming common to you. God forgave you. Are you in danger of becoming weary of God? And so when we think about that quote, are we in danger of becoming weary of God? It's a scary question. We have to ask ourselves that. And I'm kind of going to coin this term, or this term has been used, of awe amnesia. Awe amnesia. Where is our awe today? Have we forgotten where our awe should lie? How we should honor God? Have we forgotten our first love, as Pastor Wesley says so many times? Have we forgotten who our first love should be? Obviously, Christ. And what a powerful warning to every believer or student of the Bible. What is the danger? It is that the familiarity with the things of God, which are supposed to be, this is a good thing, we should be familiar with the things of God, but it could cause us to lose our awe. And when we lose our awe, it's a slippery slope to sin, possibly. This could happen. And in some cases, our familiarity can become so extreme, we forget to honor God. We disregard his house. We don't prioritize his holiness or his ministry to the lost. And mind you, this might be a slow burn, right? This might be just a slow trickle effect of not honoring God in certain ways, compromising here and there. And maybe even our life might feel stagnant at some point in our faith, our ministry. And to the extreme, hopefully we do not have contempt towards the things of God. That would be the extreme. And that's what we're looking at today, the extreme of that situation. We're in 1 Samuel 2, and we're going to be discussing Eli and his sons and their corruption of the priesthood. So we're there in verse 12 of chapter 2. Read with me there in verse 12. Eli's sons were scoundrels. They had no regard for the Lord. Now it was the practice of the priests that whenever any of the people offered a sacrifice, the priest's servants would come with a three-pronged fork in his hand while the meat was being boiled. And he would plunge the fork into the pan or kettle or cauldron or pot. Whatever the fork brought up, the priest would take for himself. This is how they treated all of the Israelites who came to Shiloh. But even before the fat was burnt, the priest's servants would come and say to the person who was sacrificing, "Give the priest some meat to roast. He won't accept boiled meat from you, but only raw." If the person said to him, "Let the fat be burnt first, and then take whatever you want," the servant would answer, "No, hand it over now. If you don't, I'll take it by force." And this sin of the young men was very great in the Lord's sight, for they were treating the Lord's offerings with contempt. And so who do we have here in this story? We got Hophni and Phinehas, these sons of Eli. Who is Eli? Eli is a significant character in the Bible, obviously. He served as both the spiritual leader or the high priest of Shiloh. And actually, Jerry just told me they found some archaeological evidence of the spot where he fell and died. So that's pretty cool just to hear that today. But he was also a judge of Israel, as we see in 1 Samuel 4. But if you know the story, he has this significant connection with Samuel. Samuel is a mighty prophet of God. And Eli is best remembered for mentoring that young prophet. And even if you know the story, when Samuel was a young boy, his mother put him into the priesthood, basically. And Samuel's hearing the voice of God. He's hearing it at nighttime. And we see here, this is the first time this happens, but it was Eli who guided him to recognize that it was the Lord's voice. Eli even guided Samuel to say to God, does anybody remember? He says, "Speak, Lord, your servant is listening." Samuel said that to God. It's a pretty awesome story. This shows that Eli wanted Samuel to know the Lord and hear him clearly. And Eli, even at some point, he showed honor to God. And he even helped Samuel to do so. But then we jump into today's passage and we look at his sons a little bit here, which we're going to look at what his response and all these things. But we see that Eli's sons, do not honor God. They don't even know him. He calls them scoundrels and worthless men. These are sons of a priest, mind you. They grew up in the Lord's house. They're hearing all these things constantly. They're surrounded by holiness, the Ark of the Covenant, the holies of holies. It's a pretty crazy thing. So these are some pretty harsh words. These are grown men who had grown up in the house of God, but yet they're struggling with some detestable acts, and they don't know God. And when people come to offer a peace offering, we could kind of talk a little bit about this. Part of it was burnt for the Lord, part was for the priest, right? And according to God's law, the priest's share was supposed to be the breast and the shoulder. That's what was assigned to them. They could take that part. But we see, what were they doing? They weren't satisfied with what God had called for them. And Eli's sons weren't satisfied. They took the meat that belonged to the worshipers before it even was offered to God. They would grab the best parts for themselves. It's almost like a greedy, they would plunge the fork in, take what they wanted, the best pieces, so to speak, for themselves, even raw meat using a fork. This is very disrespectful to God and to the peace offering system, basically. It's unfair to the people who came to worship. And in short, the sons of Eli, they disrespected God's commands. They stole from the sacrifices. They mistreated the people. They even do some more worse stuff, which we're going to talk about in a second. But really, this is what happens when awe disappears. And obviously, this is the extreme of lack of awe, right? And I'm worried this is happening in America, where we're slowly losing our awe, and we can come to a place where we treat the things of God with contempt. And it's a scary, scary ripple effect. And this story really helps us realize Eli's priorities as well a little bit. We're going to read this next part, and we're going to skip to 22 through 25. So if you turn your Bibles with me there. It says, "Now Eli, who was very old, heard about everything his sons were doing to all Israel, and how they slept with the women who served at the entrance of the tent of meeting. So he said to them, 'Why do you do such things? I hear from all the people about these wicked deeds of yours. No, my sons, I hear spreading among the Lord's people is not good. If one person sins against another, God may meditate on the offender, for the offender. But if anyone sins against the Lord, who will intercede for them?' His sons, however, did not listen to their father's rebuke, for it was the Lord's will to put them to death." We're going to skip to 27 through 36 as well. "Now a man of God came to Eli and said to him, 'This is what the Lord said. Did I not clearly reveal myself to your ancestors' family when they were in Egypt under Pharaoh? I chose your ancestor out of all the tribes of Israel to be my priest, to go up to my altar, to burn incense, to wear an ephod in my presence. I also gave your ancestors' family all the food offerings presented by the Israelites. Why do you scorn my sacrifice and offerings that I prescribed for my dwelling? Why do you honor your sons more than me by fattening yourselves on the choice parts of every offering made by my people Israel?'" Ooh, some scathing words. So we see here Eli's response. He's not happy, right? He warns them, but he does nothing. He just says, "Hey, this doesn't sound so good, guys." They don't listen to them, right? Eli himself had kind of fallen into some amnesia as well. He honored his sons more than God, as we see what the man of God came and said to him, right? His lack of awe dulled his obedience. And this man of God came clearly, directed Eli after. He says, "Look, Eli, God appointed your family. This is you. This is who you guys are supposed to be. You're supposed to be these priests for all the tribes. You're supposed to be the sacred guardians of the altar, of the sacred food offerings. God gave you a vital and important role. This is an awesome opportunity for you. But yet you guys have squandered it. And you're using these things to fatten yourselves, basically. Right? And worst of all, you honor your sons more than the God of the universe." That's legit what he says. And we don't know exactly what led to this drastic, huge change in Eli's family. At some point, Eli honored God at some point. But at this point, one thing we do know is that they were very familiar with the things of God. They're surrounded by these things, always used to it. We see the familiarities passed down to his sons, who are part of his lineage as well, called to be men of God, called to be part of the holy priesthood. They relied on holiness. They were called to be set apart for the Lord's house. They're called to wear the ephod as well. This is legit clothing that symbolized carrying the people of Israel before God and being equipped to seek God's guidance. They literally wore clothes that represented what they were doing. They're called to guide people. And so the sons of Eli were outright dishonoring God. But in our own lives, if we think about us, we are church people, right? We are Christians here. We follow God. The drift towards dishonor often begins with losing our awe slowly, I believe, in the church. And that's why I'm calling it awe amnesia. And in our American church, we see this happening. And obviously, to be in awe of something is to honor it and to fear it. And it's a scary thought that the environments that we set in our household can influence the next generation. And we see familiarity with the things of God, which is supposed to be a good thing. This is a great thing. We need to be familiar with God. We need to be familiar with the Bible. We need to be familiar with his stories. And we don't want this to happen, but it can lower our awe of God when the things of God don't wow us anymore. When we're so used to them that they bore us. We start to lose our respect for them. And that's a scary, slippery slope. I don't want that to happen in my own family. But do you see it? Maybe you see it when you meet a new believer. Has anybody met a new believer recently? And you just see like the excitement on their face, and you're just like, whoa. And maybe you're encouraged, and you see how excited they are. They're literally jumping for joy. They're hungry for the word. Maybe they read the Bible like in 5 or 6 months. I know that happened to Pastor Wesley when he got saved. He read the Bible like in 5 months or so, and he was so excited for what he was reading. I've heard his testimony many times. And maybe you remember back and you think, man, I used to be like that. I used to be so excited for God and the things that he said. And maybe you felt like this Psalm 65 says, the whole earth is filled with awe at your wonders. Where morning dawns, where evening fades, you called forth songs of joy. You felt so joyful. You wanted to sing about what God was doing in your life. You wanted to sing about Scripture. You wanted to sing about God. You were so excited. Maybe you felt like that at some point. And we realize that our familiarity has caused us to not be like a new Christian. We're so used to the things of God. And even though we have more knowledge now, maybe we've been saved a long time, we've studied, we've learned, we might lack some awe. And we hear the gospel constantly, and yet it doesn't bring us to our knees in worship and rejoice, or maybe even shed a tear. Just thinking about what God has done for us doesn't excite us. And that's a scary thing. There are sad moments when even the wonder of grace of God can barely get our attention in the midst of our busy life, our work, and even our ministry schedules. It's a scary place to be. And we become numb to God. And if we compare the situation to maybe something in your own life, if you move to a new house or something, and you're driving there, you're driving to your new house, you're so excited, you're noticing everything on your drive. You see the beautiful forest to the side. You see the trees. You're like, whoa, that's awesome. You see a cool modern house. You notice it. You're driving. You see a cool modern new building or something. You're noticing everything, all the sights and sounds around you. But maybe by the 20th trip home in your new house, you just want to get home. You just want to beat all the traffic, whatever it is, right? You've lost your wonder of the things around you. And I remember driving to Maysville for the first time in the fall, driving from here to Lynchburg, and just the beautiful leaves on the side. And I was like, wow, this is a beautiful place. Buckingham is a beautiful place, right? But then by now, I'm just like, I just want to get home. I live so far away from everything. And in the familiarity, maybe you've lost your awe. Maybe something has happened to you that seems inevitable, but is not good. You have quit seeing, and in your failure to see, you have quit being moved or thankful. The beauty that once captivated you is still there to see, but you don't see it, and you cannot celebrate what you fail to see. And we see these guys did not see, these sons of Eli did not see any, they're not looking for God whatsoever. And we see this happening to the Israelites all the time. They're losing their sense of awe for God. The prophets are sent constantly to remind them. We see even in verse 27, this man of God, what is he saying? He said, did I not clearly reveal myself to your ancestors' family when they were in Egypt under Pharaoh? I chose your ancestors out of all the tribes of Israel to be the priesthood. He gave them those food offerings for a reason. He gave them these roles for a reason. And the thing we must realize is that our familiarity with God and the things of the Bible should cause us to be in awe every single time, in everything, each and every story, right? The Israelites are hearing these stories of God and what he's done, how God brought them out of slavery. He split the sea right before their very eyes. These awesome, incredible things. And so we see on the flip of our Christian world, maybe in our Christian world, in our Christian worldview, we can kind of see how the world is reacting to a lot of this stuff, right? We see they have zero awe of God on the extreme of it. They have zero awe of God. They're disrespecting Jesus, depicting him in a wrong light, taking his name in vain, laughing at him. And I hear all the time from older Christians, what happened? What's going on? It didn't used to be like this. And obviously, we can't forget there's nothing new under the sun, right? Because the same thing is happening here with the Israelites, right? With the guys who are supposed to be in charge of all the priestly duties. And so we see here super godly people, or people of God supposedly, losing their awe for the Lord. And even in the church, we have followers slowly losing their awe of God. And we see a lot of children of Christians losing their awe of God. And we also see a lot of people falling away from the church. And even now, we have a post-Christian America. This happened in Europe. It's happening here. And I always think I always think this is kind of cool because, we live in Buckingham, right? We get to evangelize to the lost here. It's so cool to share the gospel with somebody, like say in Upwards and Good News Club, and you share like a story, or you share the gospel, or Jesus dying on the cross, and their eyes just like widen. They're just like, what? Is this real? And like you see the wonder of a little kid who's never heard these stories. Their parents have no awe of God, and they hear this, and then it invokes that awe. And that's always so cool to see. But we have to think, what is stealing our awe? What is captivating us? And if we think even further about this, what do we have maybe sitting right in our pockets? What's in my pocket right now? My cell phone, right? An awe machine, right? Our phones give us the info we need, entertainment we desire, instant satisfaction. Maybe it's money, if we think about it, the things that money can buy us and obtaining the things that we would desire. Maybe it's our hobbies. This one's a big one for me. Hobbies are really fun, right? Maybe it's our hobbies. We're so in awe of our creativity or the craft or the things we really like, right? The things that we like. Maybe these things captivate us more. Maybe it's our children. This is a big one. It's a scary one. We're in awe of them. We want them to relive. We want to relive the glory days through them, maybe. We want what's best for them, yes, right? But maybe to the extreme, we're scared to challenge them. And it's a scary road when we let our children dictate the household. That's a scary thing. And we see this in the story of Eli, this general progression of losing his awe. It trickles down to generational progression into Eli's sons, where Eli is more so concerned with his sons than the things of God. He's more so concerned with the status, I think, more so probably. And we could talk all day about how we prioritize our children over God. I'm not calling anybody out. This is convicting for me as well, right? Like, prioritize what God says. Oh, lost some lights. But we see this man of God in this passage. He says, look, Eli, the God of the universe, he saved your ancestors. This is an awesome job for you guys, yet it seems like your sons don't know God. And we even see Eli once guided Samuel to hear God's voice, right? But he failed to guide his own sons to hear God's voice, to honor God. To be in awe of something is to honor it or to fear it. And the standard he set for others, he didn't even set in his own household. Do we have an awe of God in our homes? Do we have an awe of God in our homes? Are we reminding our children daily of what and why things are happening? This is something me and Morgan have had to start doing because our children are little, just thinking it's not something we normally do, but we're reminding my little daughter, this is because of God. This is a good thing, like God loves you, or whatever it may be. We remind our children. This is something I have to work on. Reminding our children to be in awe of God, the things around them. God created the sun, moon, and stars, son, daughter. Look around you. If we are in awe of God, then we should be in awe of the things he says as well. This is a big thing, like obey his commandments. But if we lack the awe, we will slowly not listen. We're going to lack discipline in the home. And what is the solution, which we're going to get to, but perhaps we need to read a passage that is like very encouraging real quick, because this can be kind of a scary thought. But we're going to be in Psalm 145 real quick if you want to turn with me there. Psalm 145. We're going to start there in that first verse of Psalm 145. This should get us excited because we have an awesome God real quick. I will exalt you, my God, the King.
I will praise your name forever and ever. Every day I will praise you and extol your name forever and ever. Great is the Lord and most worthy of praise. His greatness no one can fathom. One generation commends your works to another. They tell of your mighty acts. That's what we've been called to do, to share with the next generation. Talk about the mighty works of God. Verse 5, they speak of the glorious splendor of your majesty, and I will meditate on your wonderful works. They tell of the power of your awesome works. I will proclaim your great deeds. They celebrate your abundant goodness. The joyful sing for your righteousness. The Lord is gracious and compassionate, slow to anger, and rich in love. The Lord is good to all. He has compassion on all he has made. All your works praise you, Lord. Your faithful people extol you. They tell of the glory of your kingdom and speak of your might, so that all people may know of your mighty acts and the glorious splendor of your kingdom. Your kingdom is an everlasting kingdom. Your dominion endures through all generations. The Lord is trustworthy in all he promises. The eyes of all you look up. The Lord upholds all who fall and lifts up all who are bowed down. The eyes of all look to you, and you give them their food at the proper time. You open your hand and satisfy the desire of every living thing. The Lord is righteous in all his ways and faithful in all he does. The Lord is near to all who call on him and to all who call on him in truth. He fulfills the desires of those who fear him. He hears their cry and saves them. The Lord watches over all who love him, but all the wicked he will destroy. My mouth will speak in praise of the Lord. Let every creature praise his holy name forever and ever. It's a pretty awesome passage. What's kind of this overriding worldview of this psalm? It's that every human being has been hardwired by God to live in daily awe of him. Every person. Pastor, youth pastor, electrician, doctor, mom, dad, son, daughter. This means the deepest, most life-shaping, practical, daily motivation of every human being was designed to be in awe of God. We're supposed to be in this relationship with him. We're supposed to be in awe of him. What does this functionally look like? Well, awe of God should be the reason I do what I do with my thoughts. It should be the reason I desire what I desire. It should be the reason I treat my wife the way I treat her, the way I treat my children, the way I treat them. It should be the reason I function the way I do at my job or handle my finances the way I do. It should structure the way I do ministry, the way I disciple others, the way I evangelize. It should structure the way I think about physical possession, personal position, and power. Eli's sons kind of struggle with a little bit of power, right? The awe of God should shape and motivate my relationship with my extended family and my neighbors. It should give direction to the way I live as a citizen. Even in our darkest moments of discouragement, he should be the source of our celebrations. It's meant to rule every domain of our existence as humans. It should never be left out of the equation, our awe of God. It should be the driving force of all things. And it's super easy to do that, right? Super easy to just be in awe of God and go about life, right? No, right? We want to think about ourselves most of the time. We want to think about what others think of us. But what we must realize, a human being who is not living in functional awe of God is a profoundly disadvantaged human being. And I'm going to say that one more time. We have to realize a human being who is not living in functional awe of God is profoundly disadvantaged. And isn't that what we see all around us in the secular world? Zero awe of God. You could pull many examples, but I even think about nature and what God has created. It's so easily explained away by evolution. Nothing created everything. What a spit in the face of God, right? Zero awe of God. Nothing created everything. What about the creator of the universe created everything, and he had a purpose and a plan and a design? The spiritual danger here is that when awe of God is absent, it's quickly replaced with awe of ourselves. It's just feeding ourselves. Our phone feeds us. Our money feeds us what we want. Whatever it is. Our children, we want them to make us look good. Whatever it is. And if you're not living for God, the only alternative is to live for yourself, just as we see Eli's sons displaying so rampantly. And we're not meant to be worshiped. We're meant to be worshipers. We've been created that way. And we see people exchanging their awe of God for awe of themselves, making themselves an idol. And we're going to see Samuel gets to talk with God a little bit here. We're going to jump back to 1 Samuel 3. It might be on the screen. 1 Samuel 3, 11 through 14. And it's pretty telling what is said to him. 1 Samuel 3:11. Or actually, I'm just going to read verse 13. For I told him I would judge his family forever because of the sin he knew about. His sons blasphemed God, and he failed to restrain them. The lack of discipline in Eli's family leads to kind of an even darker fate here. Jump to chapter 4 real quick, because I just want you to see the end of this story. I know we're jumping around a lot, but I want you to see the end of this story. What happens? God is a promise-keeping God. There is judgment. There is consequences for sin. Verse 10 of chapter 4. So the Philistines fought, and the Israelites were defeated, and every man fled to his tent. The slaughter was very great. Israel lost 30,000 foot soldiers. 30,000 foot soldiers. The ark of God was captured, and Eli's two sons, Hophni and Phinehas, died. Pretty crazy story, right? So this lack of awe of God leads to a lack of discipline, a lack of humility, a lack of passion or tenderness, and it ultimately leads to destruction. And we see it actually, their sin affects the people, right? The 30,000 people dead. The ark of God is taken. Our sin has consequences, but it also affects other people. Our lack of awe affects other people. It affects our children, it affects our sons and daughters, it affects our friends, it affects our family. And we see Hophni and Phinehas, the sons of Eli, they reap the consequences of their sin. But on the flip side of that, let's talk about the things that they didn't have that God can give us when we have awe of him. We see the awe of God produces things in our heart as a Christian that are extremely vital to be an effective, God-honoring, and productive Christian. And many of these characteristics Eli's sons lacked, and even Eli lacked a little bit of these. The first one is humility. Humility. The sons of Eli lacked this quality greatly. They walked all over the Israelites. They used everything in their profession to benefit themselves. Really, there is nothing that will put you in your place, nothing that will fix your distorted view of yourself, nothing that will yank you out of your own arrogance more than standing without defense before the awesome God of the universe. Humility. Do we lack humility? We need to grow in humility. We use our gifts to help others, not to benefit ourselves. Number 2, tenderness. Eli's sons had no tenderness whatsoever. We see they wronged the people. They disrespected their father to his face. They also disrespected God. When we grow in awe of God, tenderness helps us to be more aware of our sin. When we're tender to the things of God, when we're in awe of what he's done for us, but we're also more tender towards others. We're more gracious, we're more gentle, we're more patient, we're more understanding, and we're also hopeful in the face of other people's sins, and even ours. We're more hopeful that they'll come around. 3, passion. The sons of Eli definitely had some passion, but it was for themselves, not for God. No matter what's going on in our lives, if things are working or not working in our life, no matter what difficulties or battles I am facing, the expansive glory of God gives me reason to get up in the morning and to live the way that I should. We need to have passion as believers, not for ourselves, but for God and for the things that he's called us to do, the job that we have been, he's going to equip us to do it as well, which we'll talk about. We need passionate Christians. We need passionate students. We need passionate children who are excited for the things of God. The 4th one is confidence. Phinehas and Hophni had some confidence, right? But in themselves. They did not have confidence in God or anything else. They had confidence in themselves. They thought they could get away with this stuff. They had no awe of God whatsoever. And we see they reap the consequences of that, right? Their false sense of security and confidence causes them to fail and fall. When we look at all that God has done and the amazing wonders he has accomplished, we will be confident in him, and we're going to be confident in ourselves as well. He's not going to make us do something he hasn't already equipped us to do. He's equipped us for the task, and he's enabling us to do it. 5, discipline. This is a big one, the discipline. This is a tricky subject, right? The sons of Eli had no discipline. They were even sleeping with the women who served at the entrance of the tent meeting. They're just sleeping around with anybody that would come up. They stole what was God's and the people's. And on the flip, if we are in daily awe of God, we will have discipline. We're going to want to do these things. We're going to have the discipline to obey the scriptures, read his commandments and love them. We talked about that this morning in the prayer time. Loving his precepts, loving his commandments, wanting to do them, having a desire to point people to Christ, having a desire to point our children to Christ daily. And if we lack any of these qualities, we might struggle with awe in our Creator. And it's a tricky subject, and I don't want to downplay it. People are struggling with this. I struggled with this at certain points in my life, just lacking awe of God. And it's a scary, slippery slope that it can lead us down. And so I'm going to have the worship team come forward. We're going to sing another song that we would build our life on being in awe of God, really. Even those first few songs we sang, just singing about how awesome a God we have. He reigns. Our God is an awesome God. He reigns. What an amazing truth. We cannot lose sight of these things. And I don't have a set strategy for your life because everybody's life is different. I don't have a set strategy. But my true counsel to you and to myself is to run. Run quickly to our Father of awesome glory. Run away from being bored with God. He's so incredible. He's so awesome. And yet we're bored. Man, do I have to go to church today? Get away from complacency. Someone said this to me recently and it really convicted me. Someone was like, man, Cam, isn't it awesome to be a Christian? And I was like, you're right, it is awesome. And why do we never talk about how awesome it is to be a Christian? We're so down on man, everybody's against us, the world, they're not following God. Man, it stinks. But man, it's awesome to be a Christian. It's awesome for me to be a youth pastor. I love it. I love doing what I do. It could be the most simplest of sentences, right? But sometimes we need to simplify things. Being a Christian is awesome. It truly is. It's the best thing for all of us, for all of humanity. It's the best way. It's the only way, right? We have to remind ourselves of the awesomeness of God. It's not like school where you hate math class and, man, I got to do this because I need to get the grade. No, should be a desire. It should be an exciting thing. The familiarity with God should cause us to honor him. Eli's sons, they disregarded honoring God. They didn't even care. They didn't even take their job seriously, that their job ultimately was awesome. So really, we need to confess the offense of boredom. Pray for a rejuvenation. Maybe we need to be refreshed. Maybe we need to go away and read Scripture on our own. We need to be refreshed by Scripture. We need to be rejuvenated in our passion for the Lord. Be quick to be excited for the things of God. Plead for our eyes to be open, that they would not be blind to these awesome things that are happening around us. A person on my prayer card got saved recently, and it brought me to tears. I was so excited that God was moving in a mighty way, and it wasn't because of anything I did. It wasn't anything I did. But being excited for not being blind to the things that are going on around us. Remind ourselves to be thankful for Jesus, who offers you his grace, even at the moments when that grace isn't nearly as valuable to you as it should be. He's offering it to us even when we don't desire, it's not valuable maybe it's not as valuable as it should be. We should have this desire. And really even the gospel. We should be in awe of the gospel daily. Even as Christians, we mustn't forget what he has done for us. It's so incredible. I want students who are excited for the gospel. I want college students who are reinvigorated when they go into the world, when they're facing the struggles of life, that they can know that they have the God of the universe on their side. And so that's all that I got for you guys today, and I'm excited to see. It was so cool to see the college class was full of people, and that God is moving in a mighty way in our young people here. So I just pray today that you guys would take some time and be in awe of God. Let's sing this last song.